It's
All right, we're all here. Go ahead, April. Why don't you
cool.
start?
Okay. All right. Well, jump in if anything's not clear or questions or whatever. So, and some of it maybe you're already doing, some of it maybe you're not. So, from the minute that I get the lead, I of course try to call it as soon as possible, ASAP. I try to be on it like right away as soon as I get it. Um,
It's a first impression thing. They are very impressed to get a
yeah,
call so quick.
yeah, yeah. So, and people like talking to real people. That's the other thing. I just got off the phone with somebody. She's like, "Oh, it's real. It's not crypto in Asia or like, it's real in Orlando." So, but anyway, I do call them right away. If I can't get them, and there's a certain amount of people that won't answer a number they don't recognize. So if I can't get them,
I'm
I
one
leave
of
a
them.
message. Yeah, I think it's a man thing, but anyway, if I can't get them right away, I do leave a message, and I also text them at the same time with that first video, the little ad one that runs like on 90 seconds or whatever it is. So the very first one. Do you not
The
have
one
that?
they answered.
All right, so Lynn doesn't have that, so that's a
Right.
biggie. So, can you text that to her?
Yeah, you're talking about the one they answered in the first place.
Yep,
Yeah. So
yep.
that's a minute and 6 seconds.
Okay, so text that to Lynn's. So, and I think Jackie has it. So I put that there because they answer so much stuff. Even if the lead came in and I get to it 5 minutes later, um, I don't remember what I answered. I answered so much stuff. And I'm sure you've gotten these things too. So I put that there and I just let them know that even on the message that I'm leaving, I'll tell you what I say. I just say that, this is April Wagner and you saw my husband Bob in my video on Facebook. And you asked that we reach out to you. And so I'm reaching out to you. I'm also going to send you a text message and I'll attach the video to jog your memory. So something, it's not always exactly, but that's kind of what I say. So I'm giving them lots of instruction at that point, who I am, what I'm doing, that type of thing. And I always tell people to call me right back. I never say at your convenience. I'm like, call me right back. So the better you can get at giving direction to people, the more success you'll have too. People don't like to think and they don't like choices. So we have to kind of treat them like toddlers and not give them choices and not allow them to think. As sad as it is. They don't want to use any of those brain cells. So we know that's a lot of calories, we wouldn't want to burn calories. funny. Yeah. You know what? The whole thing is I have fun with it. I absolutely have fun. If I'm in a bad mood and somebody rubs me the wrong way, well, they're getting it. I'm not holding back. I'm not being polite anymore. I'll probably never see or hear from them again. But you know what? Sometimes they just say things and they don't give it, it makes no sense. It's not even common sense. Some of this stuff is just dumb stuff and they're just listening to them talk. So we have to kind of set them straight.
I
Even if it
had I
doesn't.
had one today. I was just telling April when we were eating, and I've heard this one a million times. He got scammed with on something 10 years ago on social media. Someone got him, and they kept hitting him up for more money, more and more. But it was one of these deals that will set you up with a website, will set you up in business, will set you up with a following, will advertise for you. You don't need to do anything. Okay. And I said, so when they said you don't need to do anything, what did you say? I said that says this is a scam. I'm about to put my hands in your pocket. Like, what did you say? And he said, well, they said, for $1,000, you don't need to do anything. I said, well, how did you give them 30,000? You just, he said, well, they kept asking for more.
My gosh.
And I said, you kept giving more. I
Yeah.
said, why didn't you ask them like, what's up at 5,000? Well, what's up at 10,000? Why didn't you, how do you go so far? And I said, now it's 10 years later. He said, I never got the first sale. I said, it's because there never was a real business.
Mhm.
He said, I was supposed to be selling pet supplies. I said, well, that's not a bad business to be in. Everybody's got pets.
Yeah.
I said, he never, and I said, look, you were scammed. I said, I've heard it a million times. And I said, it's 10 years later. What are you going to do about it? Are you just going to keep bitching about it? Or, you want to get in a real business? And, you know, it's just, and then I just said, look, I'm going to send you a video and it's legit. You can check us out. We're on the NASDAQ, whatever you want to do, but, I said, but I don't want to hear your story again. You already took 20 minutes of my time telling me about something 10 years ago that, you're allowing to destroy your life. So you just got to do what you got to do with them. You know.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think the thing, we will run through numbers. This is a lot of work, it's no different than, all the Facebook messaging too we were doing, it's a lot of work. But, I think of, look at we got D. She made Mexico trip, she's done volume, she's got rank advancements, you think of the coal market people,
But we had another guy, Archie, and
Archie,
and we
yeah,
don't talk a lot about this, but he
yeah,
was only 20 points away from the trip with 6 weeks to go. He was a slam dunk, and his wife got diagnosed with cancer.
yeah,
Mhm.
and that's
And he
not
just,
well,
I mean, what are you going to do? He's doing what he's got to do, taking care of his
Mhm.
wife,
yeah.
I mean, it's, you got to do what you got to do. But he was another one, though. He's a great
Yeah.
guy, very talented writer, has books on Amazon, just.
So yeah, so when I think of all the people in our business, I mean, you guys we met through, previous company, but a lot of them, Jaya, Kenneth was a hang up. These, people that we've been Joanne been paid on for 20, 25 years. So that's where we have to really just we're just looking for that one diamond in the rough
They
and
were
you
leads.
trust.
Kenneth answered a radio lead and hung up. Joanne answered a radio lead when we were in Atlanta. Jaya answered a fax. I mean, we can go on and on. And yeah, I mean, it's been 20, 25 years of getting paid on their businesses. Did we build their businesses, help them build their businesses? Yeah, we did, but they started it, you know? So they're out there.
So yeah, so it's a lot of calls, a lot of messaging and
Mhm.
stuff. But as long as you have a system going, and maybe we should back up with that. What I've done is I've taken two loose leaves. Actually, mine is up to three now, but two loose leaves. One is current leads that I'm actively working on at this minute. And then I have another loose leaf that is my old leads that I'm not actively working on anymore. They're still in project broadcast, still getting message. And I have both loose leaves in alphabetical order.
Mhm.
So like the text that went out yesterday, we got 54 people viewed those videos. So I know Lynn,
Isn't
you
that awesome? I mean, 54 people said video and or it automated and they
yeah.
asked for it and they got it from one text message on a Sunday evening. I mean that's the beauty of where you can really use automation to your benefit.
So in order to efficiently be able to pull out the old people, they have to be in
Yeah.
alphabetical order. You have to be able to do that pretty quickly. So just the two loose leaves going will make your life keeping it organized. And if you've got another way that's better, it's just that's what I've chose to do, and it's I can get back to people pretty easily because after a while, I tell you, it's a blur. I don't remember who I spoke to two calls again. So just taking good notes and stuff. But I do call everybody 4 times. That seems to be my number. I don't know if it's right or wrong. I don't know where it came up from. But I do leave 4 messages. And then on the fourth one, I'll say something like, and I kind of hesitate. I'll say, like, oh, hey, Jarrett, you answered our ad, on Facebook in reference to our business, but I've left a lot of messages and I haven't heard back from you. So not sure where to go from here. Bye. That's it. So, and then that seems to get those that will or won't. In other variations are, you could just say, hey, if it's not for you, it's not for you, whatever. But that's what I've been saying lately. I just don't know where to go from here and bye. And I just hang up. So And that seems to get those that will. And again, just remember, it's a numbers game. We're just running numbers. But like, with that project broadcast of the 54, I know Lynn had a few. I think you had one, Dana. I know Jackie had a few, Joanne. So there was a few out there, but the bulk of them were ours because Bobby and I have been doing it longer than anybody else. So, it's not unusual to get a lead from over a year ago. I just got off the phone with a lady, really nice, was close to it, was interested in GLP-1 when it came out last November, and then she's like, I think I'm going to try something else. We hadn't talked at all. So it's like, at least almost a year, certainly 11 months. And now she's like, I want to get started now. And she's going to start on GLP-1 a year later. I felt like saying, how much weight could you have lost in a year? But I didn't go there. I was very nice. So sometimes I have to hold my tongue, but
No, and I just got off with a guy that I've been dealing with for not that long, but for a while, and works for Amazon. Okay, you think he's making a decent salary and stuff, and he said, I'm ready to get started, and he can only do 250, but he has to do it on Thursday when he gets paid. Someone that works for freaking Amazon. This ain't, somebody working at, the gas station or 7-Eleven part-time. I mean, it's, he does it. Look, there's just a million reasons, but remember when they respond, they didn't respond to do it now. They responded because we got their attention. It's on their mind. And, 4 calls, and then April kind of rips the Band-Aid off with, I'm not sure what to do next, or whatever words you choose with that scenario. But they didn't respond planning on getting started now. They responded because they have an interest. And part of what we're doing is protecting our turf. Part of what we're doing is making sure when that interest is turned up a notch that they call us and not somebody else. And the protection on that is the Sunday text. That is the protection. We keep reminding them, but you should be sending your own text with dripping on them every once in a while too. When you see something neat in Telegraph, you see something neat that, online or on Facebook or something, hey, there's nothing wrong with sending them, hey, I just saw this, and, I thought about the conversation we had, and send them something, drip on them, remind them that you're there, remind them that you're legit, remind them that you're real. I mean, that's all part of it. And, I think 4 or 5 calls is enough to then stop calling, but that doesn't mean you stop dripping. Even though every week on Sunday they're going to get hit. I mean, that's going to happen. But you're also developing your own relationship with them, and you could send something that you think's pertinent, at the time. So, April?
Okay, so I have a question. What about what I was sending out is when we originally sat down was that after 4 I won't call you, I won't text or call you anymore. If you're interested, you get back to me.
that's fine.
And then we sent a video, like Bobby, you had one that you said, but if you're still interested, you may want to watch this video. And
Even if you say that's it, it don't have to be it.
okay, yeah, because I have sent stuff out, but then when it comes to the business overviews, like last Monday and Tuesday, I called over 48 people, and I sent them a text, telling about the overview coming and stuff like that, and then I sent out like 48 texts, and then Wednesday I sent out the reminders, and I don't think anybody was on it, but I'm still kind of doing that. So should I stop that after a while if they don't respond?
You're going to run out of time. So what I do is 4 times, and they're either going to watch a video or not watch a video. So that we're either going to have a conversation or not. So, and even if the conversation doesn't go anywhere, that's fine. I think I use the overviews as an event, as also this video that I sent out Sunday.
Mhm.
It's just an event for those people who are still remotely interested to raise their hand. So
Okay.
to deal with, 40 people or 48 people, as opposed to the 1,200 texts that went out, I can't keep track of 1,200, but I can
Mhm.
see that, 40 people raise their hand, and those are the ones that I'm going to spend a little bit more time with and try
Okay.
to get back to on top of my current leads.
Mhm. Okay.
A lot of people you're juggling, but it gives you a better idea of where to spend your time after a while, because you can't talk to all of them. It just is
No, yeah. Okay.
impossible. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, because I
So,
did send out some of those texts today because I've been working with quite a few people, and I'll have like 9 or 10 contacts with them for the overview and just leaving messages and stuff like that, and no responses.
mhm.
So I did send a lot out today where that's it. Watch the video if you're interested. I did have one woman go, "Oh my God, Jackie, I'm sorry. I've been
Now,
dealing
and
with my
remember, Jack,
issue."
it's 4
Mhm.
calls, and it
Uh-huh.
could be 4, 6, 8, 10, 12 texts. I mean,
Okay.
because that's just a second, but it's 4 actual phone calls and messages,
Yeah.
or conversations, depending on
Okay.
what happened. And all they're doing is going from book 1 to book 2 to retired. Okay, but even
Mhm.
retired, if they come back
Yeah.
with a response because of Project Broadcast, then they go back into book 1.
Yeah. That's what I've been doing.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? They got back to you, so now they're back in book 1, and you
Mhm.
just keep, it's kind of hot, lukewarm, retired.
Yeah.
But the retired pile can go back into book 1 if they respond from Sunday. And that's kind of the way you got to look at it, and the way we all have to look at it. And when
Yes.
they're going to raise their hand at some point because they liked what they saw, and when they liked what they saw, they went to the website and they left their information.
Hmm.
It's
Yeah.
not like they clicked something and we captured all their information. They had to fill it out and hit send.
Yeah.
I mean, they had to do that. So, there's legitimate interest, but I think April hit the nail on the head. Some of them, they get so desperate, or they're so aggravated with their business or job, that they'll fill out 10 or 20 things.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
that's why sending that video, which is what got their attention. I had a guy today that I talked to, and I said, "Hey, how you doing? It's Bob Wagner." And and I go through the whole thing, and he says, "Oh, Robert, I haven't talked to you in a while. How are you?" And I said, "Well, this is the first time I'm calling you. You responded over the weekend. You saw a video on Facebook of me and my wife talking about business." "Oh, that Robert Wagner." He had another Robert Wagner in his phone.
Oh.
Okay. And I said, "That's why I call myself Bob or Bobby,
Mhm.
because I don't think there's Robert Wagner's in the phone, but I have a dad named Robert Wagner, and I was junior, and there's a reason why I separated from that, and used another name. But it's, if you look at it, book 1, book 2, retired. And they come out of retirement when they respond to something from Project Broadcast.
Mhm.
But it's got to be, we have to have hit on them at least 10 times, and 4 of them are phone calls. At least 4 phone calls.
Okay.
I mean, April's got it pretty systematic. I'm not as systematic as her, but they all get at least 10 messages from me one way or the other. I mean,
Cool.
Okay.
Okay, so we've sent the 4, we've come to a dead end. We know they're hanging out in Project Broadcast. If they resurface, we give them a call. If nothing happens, they go back in the original pile. So, and you'll see some of them, like the lady today, we talked in November, we didn't talk again until today. So today was just, I don't know, maybe she got on the scale and she didn't like it, or I don't know what the deal was. So, that stuff happens. So, but again, it's just a numbers. So I'm not so hung up on her, and it doesn't really matter anymore. And it just makes it easier for you to get people started because you're not personally so invested in them yet, which I think is always an easier thing.
Mhm.
So the next thing is then I have a conversation with them when I do get them on the phone. And again, up front tell them, this is April Wagner, and I'll say, you saw our video on Facebook, and I always say the husband and wife talking, so it kind of narrows down from maybe whatever they haven't seen or have seen out there and stuff. So, and then I kind of just go into our story about, how we got started and how we got to here. But the whole time I'm telling them, even as I talk a little bit about our story and stuff, I always say, I've got a 30-minute business overview after this, and I'll share that with you. And then I just talk a little. I try to get some information about them. When I do start the conversation, I'll say, even if I know what area code it is, I'll say, what area code is this? I'm not sure I've seen this before, or, just try to get them talking a little bit about what they want. I may ask them to, what made you decide to fill out the form or ask us to call you, type of thing. So I'll do that as well. So just a little, I don't spend a lot of time on the phone with them. Bobby spends more time. I kind of get to initial need or want. And then a video, I send it to them, and only because it's a time thing. I just don't have time to, there's no way I'd get through all the calls, with everything else that because part of what we're having to do too is get people to make more conversations, either in person, on social, just in general. So, and, get that duplication going more. So that's taking some time too, but it's just a numbers game, and I send the video out. Now, this is again where the direction comes in. I let them know that I'm texting a video. I very rarely email anybody because nobody's using email these days. It's gone out the window. So unless they are really, really old and they say, I can't see my phone, I need it on email, I'm like, okay. So, but then again, their ranking just dropped.
Yeah, big time.
Yeah.
So I text it. I don't give them the option of fooling around with email. I have everything in my notes section on my phone. So it's literally a copy and paste into the text. Great talking to you. Here's the video, I'll call you tomorrow afternoon or Tuesday afternoon type thing. So, but I do let them know that it's a 30-minute overview. 15 minutes is on this really cool science of activation. And I usually will say, I know you're going to love it, because I probably have figured out their age at some point. We're about the same age or whatever. We always seem to talk about age. And then 15 minutes is on how we go about earning money and what we need to do, which is the reason you answered the ad anyway. So they generally like that. And if it's okay with you, I'm going to text it to you now. And they always say yes. And I say, great. When do you think you can watch it? Remember, it's 30 minutes. And they'll say, I can watch it now. I'm like, okay, great. But maybe it's 7:00 already, which just went on with somebody. I'm like, so would it be all right if I call you tomorrow afternoon? Would you have watched it by tomorrow afternoon? So again, just cementing in what our plans are and what we're going to do. And that's a good way too. It makes you feel better about your follow-up, and the probability of them being there and being able to take your call is a lot higher than, if you don't narrow it down. So a lot of times I'll say about the same time. I don't like to say exactly at 2:30 because calls run over, and it's, so I'll say 2:30-ish type thing. Just so it's not exactly, 2:30. But that's what I do. And, just set that appointment for the next, time that we're going to talk or whatever. Does that all make sense, or okay? So I would say, make sure you have your story dialed down when you get them, when you're going to send them the video. Just tell them a little bit maybe about you, why you got involved, what problem it helped, so that they can kind of relate to, I've made our story, I think, even stronger. I mean, I think, Bobby and I really didn't want to come out of the closet for so many years on, how rough it was back then. But I do now say, Chad, Sean was an infant, Chad wasn't even born, but, Robert was a toddler, had large mortgage, things were rough. And so people nowadays are calling because it's rough, so they can kind of get to that. So you just got to get a handle on why you're doing it. Be a little creative. I went over this with somebody else today. Somebody called and they said, I've got a guy on the line. He wants to make about 100,000 a year. I've not made anywhere in that much, but I've made some decent money in the company. In fact, it's matched my Social Security. I said, well, you never wanted to work more than a few hours a day, if that. You're just not,
Not
you
even.
work hard. Yeah, I know. So, I mean, for you to
But
expect,
think about that alone.
yeah,
Somebody more than doubled their Social Security working maybe an hour a day.
yeah.
Who wouldn't be interested in that?
Mhm.
If they're getting Social Security, because you're allowed to make money if you collect Social Security. Disability is the one that you got to watch what you make on top of it. Social Security, they don't care. They're just going to tax your income anyway. And but I mean, that would probably be, I don't know, 100 million people would
Yeah.
like to double up, and so.
Yeah. So, you just have to think about, because I know you guys have all done well. So you may maybe not have that starting story. But maybe it's the time freedom and the fear of, if I do stop working, or,
I mean, look, Lynn, you could easily say, hey, I spent my whole life managing a law practice. My husband was a lawyer. We're winding down, and I just couldn't imagine doing nothing.
Mhm.
And I found these fabulous products. I met some really cool people, and I decided, hey, I'm going to have another business that I can work whenever I want. Whether I'm riding horses, walking my dogs, playing pickleball, whatever, the business is always there, and I can ramp it up anytime I feel like.
Okay, but
And
I would, based on the audience we have coming in, I wouldn't mention you were a lawyer or your husband was a lawyer. They can't relate to that. So,
oh, come on.
no, I know, but so just say, hey, I worked really hard. Did you work a lot of hours? 40
Oh, yeah.
hours, 50?
She
So,
ran the place.
no,
And then
I'm
run
not,
home and take care of the kids.
see, okay. So, I worked my whole life. I worked really, really hard, had to take care of the kids, long days, and I just wanted to make sure that even after I stopped, I still had something coming in for me. It sounds a lot better than I was a lawyer. He was a lawyer. We made a lot of money, and now I ride horses. They can't relate to that. So
If you're talking to another professional, you can use that.
yeah, but
If
not
you're talking to another professional and they had a professional career, not a lawyer, but a professional career like you did,
yeah,
that would
that's
work
different.
well.
That's different. Yeah. If you're talking to a doctor or
Dana,
something.
you can juggle, the whole thing with raising kids and having, a Down syndrome kid, and but everybody's getting bigger. They're getting their own. You just said two of them are going to be driving for themselves, and you were a professional before you got married and had kids. You worked, and so you could very easily make a really nice story with that and put a nice bow on top of it.
Okay.
And everybody knows kids are super, super expensive now.
Right.
You've got college coming up. You've got
Yeah,
cars.
and
Money.
you pick two of the worst ones possible: horses and hockey.
Yeah.
I know, right?
Yeah,
I
oh,
would
you
pick 'em.
absolutely. You went for just like right up at the
I
top.
know.
What could I do that would cost the most?
Yep.
You know?
I know.
Mhm.
Oof.
All right. So yeah, so you got to pull some heartstrings with these stories though. I mean, I'm not saying lie, but you got to get a little creative and be able to relate to the person you're talking to.
It makes them open up.
Yes.
If you allow yourself to be vulnerable just what April's saying, it gives them permission to open up, and you can get right to the nuts and bolts of what it is that they're looking for and want, and what their issue is. It makes it easier. You cut through all the crap, but you got to kind of go first.
Yeah.
you know
You just that's gotta be part of your story because, they expect a successful person to make it, and that's why the truck driver housewife story was always so great because they were least likely to make it.
Least
So,
likely to succeed.
yeah.
Yeah.
So we want to keep that in mind. So, okay. So we've sent the video, we've set up our follow-up. And then I just, ask people, what'd you like best about it? What interests you most? Depending if it's a guy or a girl, what interests you? What'd you like? A lot of times with girls, I'll say, what'd you love best? That type of thing. So.
Okay.
Make sense?
Mhm.
It really is the consistency of just, you know, it being systematic and having the consistency with it is what it's all about. And there's no such thing as too much contact or too many tries or, you know, because they're going to do it when something happens one day, and that's when they're going to do it. Something is just going to push them, or they're going to have had enough, and they're going to do it. And
So there's another fallback you can use too. Like sometimes you can sense maybe somebody's closing on a house, maybe they're starting a new job. I'll always ask, I can sense you're really busy. You can't get their attention, I think is what you can almost feel. So, or maybe there's a sickness with a family member. So then I'll say, hey, I can tell that life is happening. Would it be okay if I call you back in a month or 2 months? So I would literally just schedule it out a month or two, depending on what's going on. So rather than just totally lose the lead, I'll schedule it out. So, because sometimes, we all have elderly parents, stuff comes up, jobs, whatever. So, do be aware of that too. So, because, when life's happening, it's really hard to make a decision on anything because you're worried about other stuff. So if you sense you're coming up against that, do
I
that.
just had to do that with someone. I started talking with him beginning of October, and he's saying, "Yeah, what? I can't believe how much it costs. My daughter's getting married next month on, I think, the 15th. I forgot the date, like middle of November." And I figured, yeah, I'm thinking to myself, this probably ain't the best time to get him to start a business when, he's just writing checks and paying for things constantly. And then what April just said last week, I just said, hey, why don't you just focus on your daughter's wedding, get that behind you, and then we'll talk and get you started after that's over. And I just let him go, let him off the hook. He didn't have to tell me no. He didn't have to keep making up excuses with the wedding. I suggested, why don't we wait to after the wedding? And then you'll have a clear head. It'll be behind you, and we can focus on earning back all the money you spent on the wedding. It's like, he said, that's a great idea. And that's that.
Okay.
You
Okay.
know, and you
Yeah.
can call if you've got scenarios, just call or text me and just say, hey, this is what they said. I don't know where to go or whatever.
Okay. I feel good because I'm doing everything what you do.
You get more three-way calls than
Absolutely.
anybody.
Look, you
So
you've
yeah,
you've done a great job with a ton of three-way calls. So, and that
Yeah.
we didn't mention three-way calls, but
Mhm.
because they saw our ad, man, do it as often as you can do it.
Mhm.
Just make sure they've watched the video first.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
the only thing, because we can't move them to close them if they haven't watched the video. If
Mhm.
they've watched it and they're talking to us, then we can close them. But
Mhm.
that's the only thing. But man, as often as you can do that, third party validation is strong.
Mhm.
It always
Now,
is.
yeah. Now I got now I have like 3 or 4 people that said they were interested and they were going to sign, but then they've never signed. So I just call them up. I'll leave. They're not answering my phone call anymore. The text, they'll always give me like a thumbs up or yeah, I'll get on the call. I'll get on the Zoom. And I just call them and ask them, hey, I'm just, checking in to see how you're doing. Is there anything I can help you with? To make, stuff but I just don't know what to say or how do I even get them to close?
yeah. So like an example that was clear to me over the weekend, I had a guy, I'd sent him the link and finally over the weekend he tried to sign up and our site was down. So when he called me up, I just said, look, the site's down. I don't know when it'll be back up. Maybe Monday. I said, are you really busy during the week? And he said, yeah, I'm really busy. I said, all right, well, if you give me the information, I'll put the order in for you. And it was
Okay.
simple. So it really just depends knowing what's going on.
Mhm.
Whether they want to walk through it, they want to do it themselves, or they want you. I collect a lot of, and I probably should not say this recorded, but a lot of credit cards. I put a lot of people's orders in just to make life easier for them.
Okay.
Something about the computer system scares people and they're just like, they just don't want that hassle. So I have no problem getting credit cards, social security numbers and all. I don't ask for the birth date because I feel like I've already had their whole life between email and everything else. So that's my personal thing. I think that's way too much. There's no reason the company needs to know their birth date, but you know, I have no trouble getting social security and
And
credit
yes,
cards.
you can just make up a birth date. You can just
Yeah.
make it up.
Yeah, I just make it up. So I mean, you know, it even when I'm trapped, Bob will tell you it's on.
They shouldn't ask because they don't need to have it. It's not pertinent to anything.
It's not pertinent to
Mhm.
it. So, and the company's never sent out a birthday card to me, so it doesn't really matter. So if they do, I'm in trouble because people got all random stuff. I try to match the year, but that's about it. So, but yeah, so
Okay, so just keep contacting them and then asking, like that lady Becky, you know, the one she was going away for the weekend.
uh,
She's like, oh, I'm signing up now. I'm looking at everything and has not signed up.
yeah,
She does respond to my texts with the thumbs up.
Yeah,
Hey,
she would be a perfect one to say, hey, why don't you let me help you out? I'll do it for you.
okay.
And take the information from her and you can just put it in.
Mhm.
You know,
Okay.
and most of the time I would say, Jackie, when those scenarios, because they happen to all of us, it came time, all the questions have been answered. They have no issues other than they don't have any money.
Yeah.
And that's, you know,
Mhm.
that's generally what it
Yes,
is.
it is. Yeah.
You know, and sometimes you need to say that, say, hey, you know, we've been going back and forth. Is the money the issue? Where are things at? And that's where, you know, maybe if you know they're close to the two and you can use the coupon to save them 10% or something.
Mhm.
But normally when you've done everything right and they're at that point, the credit card won't do the order. It just,
Yeah.
it won't take it. So,
Okay. Okay. So I just have to be patient and just continue to work with them and, you know,
and you kind of know what product she wants. Do you know what product she wants or where she was going to start?
Yeah, she was talking about her and her daughter with the collagen. You know, she's the
Okay.
one with the cheerleaders that she has wrote, you know, the cheerleaders
All
are
the
still in
moms and
contact.
stuff.
Oh yeah, you know, so I sent her the link and she was going through these, you know, you know, the packages to see which one she wanted to get. So, but she's not answering my phone calls. She used to pick up all the time and then now she's not answering.
Yeah,
So,
nowhere to go.
yeah.
Okay.
So it's kind of like, okay, so I'll just kind of feel her out and see,
Yeah.
you know, see what's up or
Yeah,
if
you
she
know,
needs to
maybe we
wait.
can get a strong collagen before and after, maybe some new ones.
Mhm.
and
Seen,
great idea. That's
and
send some before and afters on the collagen to them. Say,
And-
look
Yeah.
how great this is, you know?
yeah, you can
Yeah.
make it personal and just say, hey, this just came across from one of my friends, you know, that look at the results she got in this short time. Are you still interested? So
Yeah.
and
Okay.
if once she says yes, say, hey, great, you know, let's go ahead and get you started. I can help you take all of a minute and you could just write
Okay.
the information down.
Okay. Yeah. Cause now I have every single package separated on my note page.
Good.
And I have it separated so this way I don't send them my link, Jen, so they're looking through
Right.
all the packages.
Right.
I separated each package out with the price and the name of the package and the price next to it. So now I know just to know, you know, if I know what they're interested in, I'm just going to send them that package and that
Yeah.
link.
And
I was asking if Dabs can take you.
that's a good point, Jack, because when generally the 250 pack,
Mm-hmm.
okay, is buried. It's not one of
Yeah.
the first three that you see when you use the enrollment link, you know, and all of a sudden you give them that for more options, click here, and then they see a dozen different things, and then they don't know what to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
That's
that's
what
a
I
good
figured.
point, is send them the link you want them to have, and they don't need to see the rest of it.
Yeah. Yeah. I just separated everything out now so I can be a little bit more direct with them. So, okay. All right. So at least I know I'm on the right track. I'm doing
Yeah.
pretty much everything. Okay. I'll just stop less phone calls and more, you know, after the 4th, and then I'll do
Yep.
the texting and things like that. Okay.
And keep in mind something really cool or big or special or that something that's pertinent to everybody comes up, they're going to get it on Sunday.
Yes.
I
Yeah.
mean, they're going to get that. So
Mhm.
just drip on them whenever you see something that you had a conversation with them about.
Yeah.
Those are the things because you're taking notes on your sheet with them,
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
and you see something that and we're gonna keep loading up Telegram. You're gonna have plenty of
Mhm.
material in there, and you do know with Telegram when you click on the orange Healthy Edge, it gives you the option to click media, and everything that's ever been put in there is right at the top of the page.
Okay.
No scrolling necessary.
Okay.
It's right at the top and it'll say media, it'll say links. You click media, and every picture and every video ever posted will be the only thing you see.
Okay. Great.
So it's
Okay.
really easy to deal with, and so we'll keep loading that up and everything will be there. So,
Okay. Yeah, no, that's good. And the video, the multi-level marketing video is excellent.
I
yep.
thought so. Again,
Oh,
another event. Yeah.
right, really, yeah, because there was one guy, the one guy was, trying to recruit me after so many times, and he got hit into an accident and he can't work, and he goes, well, why don't you sign up with me and make me wealthy in my business? And
Wow.
so yeah, so I told him I love my company too much. I said I appreciate the offer, but I wish him the best, and that was it. And he hearted it and whatever. And then I got back to him today, and I sent him that because ours the big thing I
Third
like.
party validation.
Yeah,
See, that video is third party validation.
yeah.
That's what it
So
is.
I just said, hey, I thought you'd be interested in seeing this because they don't have a lot of training in that company. It's a new company. The doctor who's owns it is changing things all the time on them. It's inconsistent. So, and that's what he was complaining about and wanted to sign up with us, but then he had the accident and then wants me to build him a business. So I was like, okay, I was very nice.
I don't know
I
if I
kept
would have been nice on
I
that
kept
one.
the
That
door
may have
open.
been one, take out all your frustration on the
I
one
know.
guy, and then you're
I
good for
know.
another couple weeks,
Yeah.
It's like-
Yeah, I know. I only did that on one person, but yeah. But I wasn't, but I said, hey, thought you might be interested in seeing this. And that's all I sent him today. And he gave me a thumbs up
Perfect.
on it. So
Perfect. Yeah.
Hey, just so
that's
you
it.
guys
Okay.
know that if you're missing it now, but please listen to the company Zoom tonight. It
Mhm.
started 10 minutes ago, but if you miss it live, make sure you watch the recording on it. Okay,
Okay.
so it's the start the month call, and I know Marcel Niederhauser is doing the main training on it, but it we're like I said, we're 10 minutes past where it started, but I think we're good now though, are we, April?
Yep. Yeah.
Unless there's more questions, are you good, Jackie, Lynn,
Mhm.
Dana?
I'm
good, I
jumping
think.
off because I'm in the car now.
Are you
I've
good
got
though? Are
one
you
of the
okay?
players with me. I'm
She's got
good. If I'm
players.
not, I'll reach out. But
You
yeah,
can
I'm
reach
good.
out, right?
So
Yeah.
Okay.
you
Can
what?
you send this
Yep.
recording so I can,
I did. It's the text that with this on it, I sent it.
oh, no,
Just-
this training
Oh,
here.
this record. Oh, yeah. No, I'll send this, but the video that you asked for,
Yeah, I got that.
I texted it in the thread. So
Yeah.
yeah,
I got that.
I'll get this sent right over and
Okay.
put it in the thread also.
And one more question. Like when they say, well, how do I do this? What is a good like first line that they could introduce themselves to people on Facebook or Instagram? I tell them Facebook, Instagram, anybody that they know in any of their social circles, and things like that. But they're like, well, how do I even approach it? So how?
Yeah, I throw it right back on them. And probably
Mhm.
before we've gotten that far, I've had a conversation like, who are you thinking of?
Okay.
Because that point where they're thinking of talking to people will get them to the close right away. And then if you
Okay.
can write
And
those,
then
and
you can always use this too. If you just found out you were pregnant, if you just got engaged and were getting married, if you just, you just found out you're going on your dream vacation, who are the first 5 or 10 people you tell about it?
Okay.
Who are they? You know, if you know, if you just found out you're pregnant, just found out married, you whatever it is, who would you call? Who would you share that with? Because you
Okay.
just found out about the greatest health products in the world, the greatest business in the world. It should be in that category of who you would call
Mhm.
if something really good just happened in your life.
Okay. Okay. All right, very good. Okay.
Good, good.
Good, good,
That's
good.
our African safari driver. Good.
Yeah.
He'd stop so we could look at the giraffe or elephant and then say, good. So we started saying good.
Good. That's cute. Okay, perfect. All righty.
All right,
All
this has
right.
been very helpful.
The
Thank
text
you.
with just us, I'll put this in. I'm not putting this in Telegraph, but I'll put the
Yeah.
recording in there so you have it for recalling.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, that
Okay.
would help. Great.
All right.